Oh, hello. Sorry. Today's been a rough day, my mind. Yeah, when I get those bad depression and anxiety attacks at night, it tends to shut me down for a whole day, so just don't feel like doing much. I got some stuff done today, though. I kind of got a stream to raise money anyway, so just couldn't get myself to do it until now. Very mentally exhausted. Okay, how do I get the second support skills for them? There's second ones, right? Like, how do I get them? Just tell me. I never mess with the bodyguards that much, so just tell me how to get them. I keep getting these conversations, but they don't get, like, new passives, so I think there's another couple tries. I'll look it up in a second. If this run doesn't do anything, I'll look it up. Gotta remember, I originally played this game in Japanese. No, I can read some Japanese, like very basic stuff. So some things like the bodyguards and things I didn't really mess with it that much because I was playing in a different language. I played vanilla DW8 like right when it came out. PS3 version. I mean, it's like 10 years ago, so I didn't have a smartphone with Google Translate, which makes playing Japanese imports a lot easier. But back then I didn't have access to those kinds of things, so it's not like you really need the bodyguards anyway. They're useful for some things, but you don't need them. Kind of just a cool thing to have. Something else to grind for. It's not supposed to be like this big, complicated thing. Oh no, I guess guess that's not how you do it then. Let me look it up. There's a guy that puts up really useful stuff, but he only does it. He does it through his PS4, and apparently this game, if you play it through PS4, it doesn't let you record the sound, which is incredibly stupid. Guy's got good videos, but they're all like silent films. Yeah, there were a couple games around that era. It's like 2014 to 2016, I think. If you played them on PS4 and you tried to record or stream, it had no sound. It's like, you might as well just, like, turn off the streaming at that point, like... Especially because you're streaming it through a console, so you don't have access to things you can do on a computer, like dub music over it or something. Have music playing in the background. It's like, no, it's just completely silent. There was like some kind of rights issues with the voice actors, and I guess they just never went back and fixed it. He has like the most useful videos for this game, but it's not his fault. It's not his fault. It's Koei Tecmo's fault. You can't really rely on the built-in streaming on the consoles. I mean, it depends on what you're playing. Especially Japanese stuff. I can't find anything about this. I'm about to, not care anymore. I'm about to not care. about to not care about this and just play. This guide is pretty extensive. I'm looking for it in here. Ah, whatever. I don't care. No, it was a rights issue around that time. I think Tokiden 2 came out like 2 years after this did. That doesn't have, I think that had muted sound and music as well. I feel bad for that guy, because he's like, he makes good videos for this game, but I guess he just doesn't have the money for a capture device, so he's kind of screwed over, which sucks. I always tell people if you want to do this stuff seriously, you need a capture card. And I don't mean to be blunt by saying that. it's just the truth. Because when they put stuff on console, the publisher has like full control over. The publisher has full control over like what you can or can't stream. Like Gundam Breaker 3 is a good example. It's such a dick move. If you play that game and you try to stream it through the PS4, it only lets you stream the lobby. As soon as you go into gameplay, it blocks it. I'm like, well, why did you even enable streaming at all? Like, what the hell is that shit? That's such a dick move to people that don't take this seriously or don't have, you know, the money to make like a big investment to like start making content, which means at least like a cheap laptop and a capture card. It's like, no, you can only stream the lobby. Okay, thanks, I guess. Cool. It's very useful. Tales of Berseria is another one as well. That game blocks everything, so if you try to stream that game through PS4, you're pretty much just streaming dead air. I remember when that game came out, and I was looking at the streaming directory, there were so many people trying to stream it from a PS4, but it was just a blue screen. Like, why don't you be more of a dick to people who bought your game and you just want to stream it to friends? They're not doing like serious hardcore content creation. It's too much to ask, I guess. Yeah, built-in streaming will never replace a capture card. Like PS5 and Xbox Series X, like the quality is way better than the PS4 and the Xbone, but you know, the publisher has complete control over what you can and can't do with it. It depends on what you're trying to do, honestly. I think it's still viable, but it's never going to be a full replacement. It's great for fighting games, it's great for first-person shooters, battle royales especially, those kinds of games. Because, you know, you can put up like a kill montage or in like a shooting game or like a combo or something. But for stuff like this, it's not very useful. Oh, wow. Congrats to you. That's pretty cool. There goes all my apes. All my NFTs are gone. Gotta love when Battle for the Grid got the Street Fighter collab, and then like the same week, the exact same week, Enway announced that they were doing some monkey NFT game. Like, you can't make this shit up. Like, way to burn bridges. And by the way, we're making some stupid ape NFT game, and we're doing NFTs for the Olympics. Great. We actually got people to look at the damn game. I love that game to death. That's like my favorite fighting game in a long time, and it's fucked it up. Come on now. It's embarrassing. Guess it didn't matter because they stopped updating shortly after that. They did like one more patch. The game is support drop now. Wish I could find another fighting game I liked as much as that, but nothing else hits that hard for me. I mean, the license helps too, admittedly. I really like the roster. They had the balls to put in Rangers that weren't immensely popular, but they fit well for a fighting game, which I think was pretty ballsy, because they could have just added 18 versions of Tommy, but they did not do that. I think that game is the gold standard of how you should do franchise fighting games, for sure. Not like Dragon Ball Fighters, where there's like 8 versions of Goku and Vegeta that take up like half the roster. They put like cool characters in that like aren't super household names, but they're fun to play in a fighting game. All my apes are gone again. Nice. Okay, I think I'm gonna do this a couple times and try to get some weapons. So let me see. Can I check what I just got? Recently obtained. In here. Maybe I'll try to get one of the weapons. Let's see here. Oh, there's one on Steam. You gotta do this story, though. I, like, never touched the story in this game. Oh, no, I did it. I did it the first time. I did it the first time. When I played on PS3. That was, like, the last time I touched the story. And pretty much just play in the DLC maps. I don't know if I can actually do any of these right now. Let's see. I don't know, I treat the story in these games like Diablo and like service games. Like, I just want it to be over so I can just play. Always been like that. It's kind of felt like after they did Dynasty Warriors 7, it's like story's kind of not really important anymore. they told you the whole thing. Well, the gimmick in this game to get around that was the fact that they have the hypotheticals, so you can, like, kind of change history, I guess. Well, some people like that. But, I think they wrote themselves into a corner. They wrote themselves into a corner doing that for sure. Pretty much just tell you the whole story. It's like, well, great, now you can't, now you can't really do that anymore, huh? Alright, let me see if I have this one for his katana. And then Dynasty Warriors 9 is just telling the same damn story again, but worse, because there's like barely any actual pre-rendered cutscenes. It's mostly just people standing around. I think that's the best game to justify not reading the story. The presentation just took this huge dump because they didn't really animate that many cutscenes in Dynasty Warriors 9 because they were already struggling to make the game to make a big open world game like the size of Grand Theft Auto 5 with like 2% of the budget. The story presentation in that game sucks. Even if you care about it, it's really hard to watch because it's mostly just like the kind of the cheap cutscenes they do in Yakuza. You know, they have like really high-end cutscenes in the Yakuza games, but then like the sub-stories and stuff, it's just people just standing around and there's not even any voice acting. That's pretty much what the majority of the story is presented to you in what's it called? In Dynasty Warriors 9. It's like, look, we have like 130 characters and we have like $3 to make this game with, so you have like one pre-rendered actual nice-looking cutscene, maybe like every 5 hours. And the rest is just like, just people standing around. Like a reality TV show has more production values than that. It's kind of sad, really. They just did such a good job telling the story in 7, and then they kind of wrote themselves into a corner. You can't just keep doing it over and over again. But with 9, they kind of just went back to doing exactly that. Okay, where's the one for him? Like that cutscene I just skipped is very rare in Dynasty Warriors 9. Very uncommon. There's some cool ones in that game still, but part of the problem is they had the incredible idea to give every character a story mode, which just made the budget suffer even more. They really should not have done that with that game. Should have just been by kingdom or faction. And they probably could have had like more actual nice looking cutscenes. A little bit more interesting to watch instead of just people standing around. It's a bummer, honestly. But it's the same story again, just told in a worse way, so... It's nice that they have Dynasty Warriors 7 on Steam. It's like, yeah, if you want to actually read the story and not just skip it, the game's about as good as it gets. It tells you the full story. There's definitely some gameplay limitations in 7 that got addressed in the later games, like not really having anybody playable in like the Jin era. They're all dead, so Jiang Wei and Yue Ying come back like 400 times. But you can't fault that on the writers, you know, they don't have any playable characters for the late era, so the storytelling kind of doesn't take a dump, I would say, but you gotta have some suspension of disbelief at that point. Jiang Wei would be like 150 years old at that point, he's still going. True anime protagonist, Power Ranger, just never give up. He's like 400 years old at that point. But that doesn't happen until the last couple hours of the game anyway, so I don't think it's too much of an issue. Tonfa switch attack is such garbage. There's no tracking. The hitbox is really bad. All my apes are gone now. Great. It's a good chain of events here. They should honestly promote the Dynasty Warriors 7 Steam port, because it really is like the best entry point for these games, in my opinion. Even if you could still play the PS2 ones, I think 7 is like the best, because it doesn't feel too outdated. I mean, I was just playing it last week before this mod came out. It doesn't feel old at all. Maybe the way it looks, yeah, but you don't really play these games for graphics if you're smart anyway. The fact that it tells the whole story and it's like 20 bucks. Should probably make a video about Dynasty Warriors 7. Maybe play through a little bit of like the Wu story or something. But I tried watching some of 9's cutscenes. The funniest thing about Dynasty Warriors 9 is that because they didn't really do a lot of pre-rendered cutscenes, a lot of characters just die sitting down. I'm not making that up. There's like so many deaths in that game where people are just sitting down on a chair or like a stump or something, and they just die because they don't have the resources to actually animate the cutscenes anymore, so it's like people do their little anime monologue and they just die sitting down. very awkward. I feel like it has impact like maybe the first 3 times it happens, but then it keeps happening. It's like if they never sat down, they'd still be alive today. It's like sitting down just like drains their life force. It's like Yu-Gi-Oh! The life points just drain. Nice combo. This mod is the best. Dynasty Warriors, or Samurai Warriors 5 definitely had better production values than 9 did. The problem with that game was just the midlife crisis Nobunaga was kind of such a cop-out. They made him look exactly the same as the other one from the old games. It's like, alright, you make it a big deal that he's like young, but then you just play it safe. They're almost like indistinguishable. That really bothered me about that game. It's like one of the non-gameplay things that bothered me about that game. Obviously the game's got a lot of problems with its gameplay, but it's like, what's the point of rebooting if you're just gonna make the depressed edgelord Nobunaga look exactly the same? It's weird because the Mitsuhide, the older version of him, actually looks distinguishable. That game had some cool designs, though. I actually liked the majority of the redesigns. I thought that they did the character designers did a pretty good job. Better than the gameplay designers, that's for sure. I think they made them look fresh. Maybe some people didn't like how many of them turned into Bishonens like Hideyoshi and Ieyasu, but I liked that it actually did. Most of the characters, it felt like was actually fresh. I think Nobunaga is probably the biggest offender because he just looks exactly the same once he gets into his midlife crisis version. Wouldn't be surprised if that was something that maybe the suits of the company pushed for. Have like one recognizable character. Damn Lu Biao! You shall pay for my father's death! Ah! Showing my age. Showing my age by doing that. That's from a Dynasty Warriors 3. Dynasty Warriors 3 cutscene. Oh man, do I gotta play it again? I don't think you can use a horse like this, can you? I shouldn't have done select stats. This is how rarely I actually touch the story in these games. Last time I really did a lot of story in Dynasty Warriors was probably 7. I did all the story in that. It was a good story. Let's see, is it gonna let me... play the next one, or do I have to... Oh, okay, alright. Yeah, I don't feel like doing a whole last story. I just want to try to get one of these weapons, because I never really messed with them before. Oh, I can get Zhou Yu's here. Alright. I think he's pretty decked out. He should be able to do this on Chaos. It says... Find the assault unit after defeating Li Dian and Yue Jin. Okay, so I'll try this blind, and then I'll try this blind, and then I'll just look up a guide. Shouldn't be too bad. Copium. PGR's down for maintenance, so I don't think I'll be playing that tonight. PGR is going into a next update. Then I get to pull for a new character tomorrow. That's going to be very exciting. I don't know if I'll stream it. It won't be until 1 AM. I'm looking forward to that. I just wish Yasuke was in a better game. It's like they finally put a brother in a Musou game, and he's stuck in like one of the worst ones. That shit sucks, man. Everybody was so excited when he got announced, because people wanted him in a Samurai Warriors game for ages, years. But then he's just a clone in a jank-ass game. Disappointing. Wish they would make another Orochi and put him in there. His moveset was pretty fun, what it was worth. He was a clone for sure. I think the problem with this game's story is it doesn't get interesting until you get to the hypotheticals, which is like actually new content. You gotta treat these games like Star Wars games. Or like Call of Duty games, you know, there's only so many times you can do, like, the trench battle in Star Wars, or World War II. Like, there's only so many ways that you can do it. But with stuff like this, there's, like, not really any choice. So, it kind of just feels like a retread. It's upgraded, obviously, the graphics are better, and, you know, there's more characters to play. There's less generic officers. So you get, like, more dialogue and story beats and stuff, but it very much is just the exact same thing, so... I think that's why they did the hypotheticals in this, so that there's actually something new for people that played a lot of 7. But 7 will forever be the best story presentation, I think. Just a legit good story, and you get pretty good gameplay, too, so... It's hard to find games like that. We're very limited by the setting that this is from. Dynasty Warrior 7 was the anniversary game, so it was the 10th anniversary game. So I guess they wanted to go big. That was one of the big selling points of 7, was actually getting the whole story instead of it cutting off. You know, the other games never really went into that, so he never got to play as the Jin Dynasty or see them, or see, like, the actual end of the era. They made a pretty big deal out of it, for good reason. They put a lot of work into that story. First time I ever cared about the story. Been playing this stuff since the beginning. Oh, it's not this one. Oh, okay. Alright, we'll just play casually then. Got mixed up. Yeah, in 7, Liu Bei would say ambition like every 2 seconds. There's some good meme videos about that from back in the day. Say benevolence over and over and over. Boomerang C6 is so broken. Love it. Definitely the pay-to-win DLC weapon in Dynasty Warrior 7. It's like the best weapon, pretty much. Because the C6, if they're on the ground and they're not juggled, it procs like multiple times. It procs like an insane amount of times. So you can just do it raw, and they don't get juggled, and they take like a ton of damage. Can I get Sunsei's here? No. Oh, time for him to die. It's been about 20 minutes of gameplay. Sunsei's already on the way out. No wonder they stuck him with that bunk-ass pizza cutter in Dynasty Warriors 9. Definitely the weirdest playable. His father, too. Him and his father. You wonder why they're playable. Because they die so quickly. Every game. They die so quickly. Pretty much always the first ones to go in the story. He's always been one of my favorite characters, but he pretty much has always had a garbage moveset in every game. I had so much copium that they would put him in, give him the Tonfas back in the 9 DLC, but that didn't happen. I got so fucking pissed. It's like literally the first time that they showed gameplay of 9 Empires. The playable character in the gameplay footage was him with the pizza cutter. And I put up a tweet like, I can't express how frustrated I am. There's no mystery or nothing to be discovered. Like, nope. He's still stuck with that shit weapon. I feel like they did that on purpose. Because they didn't declone anybody in 9 Empires, unlike the previous Empires games. Usually be like, well, for 7 and 8, it was mostly the DLC weapons. They just assigned a user to them, and then they put in the EX attacks. Yeah, 9 Empires is the first one since, like, I think 6 that didn't declone anybody, which is pretty interesting. Every Empires game since 6 has decloned somebody. Or had a new character. 9 was a disappointment in a lot of ways, but a lot of people don't know that, because 6 Empires came out after the PS2 Dynasty Warriors 6, which pissed off a lot of people, because, believe it or not, that was like the height of Dynasty Warriors hype, was Dynasty Warriors 6, because it was one of the first, like, big-name games that came out. A lot of people don't realize, like Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty, besides Call of... Actually, no. It predates Call of Duty, I think. Dynasty Warriors 6 in Japan predates Call of Duty, I think. So a lot of people were really excited about that game, even people that aren't super hardcore into these kinds of games, just because it was a new game to play. And then they go, oh, by the way, you know how you don't like how your favorite character's stuck with a spear or sword? Well, we're gonna declone them on the fucking PS2. You know that console you just upgraded from? That was not a good time to be in the community. Everybody was fucking livid. And for good reason. I mean, these games didn't really come out on anything but the PS2, with some exceptions, but for the most part, it was pretty much a PlayStation franchise. So everybody upgraded to the PS3. And they go, oh, by the way, PS2 is getting Dynasty Warriors 6 with like 7 new characters decloned. So 6 Empires was actually the official like HD debut of those characters being decloned. It wasn't the first time that they had those movesets, but it was the first time on that current gen. I can't believe they did that. I don't think they'll ever live that down. A lot of people have forgotten about it, but it was definitely a bad PR move to do that. Like, you could have just ported the game to PS2 and had it be, you know, okay, like it's stripped down. It's not going to be as good as the current gen version, but don't put like a massive amount of content like that in the downport version when people just fucking paid like $600 to get a PS3 to play this game. Like, it's so stupid. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. I don't even think it sold very well. I think it was just a straight, like, real dick move to do. A lot of people don't know that Dynasty Warriors 6 did come out on PS2, and it wasn't just a downport. It actually had like a significant amount of new content. They decloned like 6 characters, and then those characters had story modes as well. So got pre-rendered, nice pre-rendered FMV cutscenes, CG cutscenes. Yeah, a lot of people weren't playing these games back then and don't remember how much hype there was. There was a disproportionate amount of hype around Dynasty Warriors 6 because it was like one of the first big HD games. It's pretty much that, Assassin's Creed, and Call of Duty 4. Were like the big HD games for a lot of people because that generation of consoles didn't launch with very much, kind of like how the PS5 is right now. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto was not out. I don't think Assassin's Creed was out. If it was right around the same time. DMC4 was a year away. Grand Theft Auto was over a year away. You notice how they don't do that anymore. Like they do last gen version. Well, they don't really have a current gen Muso game yet, do they? I don't think there's any current gen Muso games at all. But they're not going to pull that stunt again. They know better than to do that now. Next Muso comes out on PS4, it'll be the exact same game, just pared down. It's not going to be like this big improvement. They're not going to declone like 8 characters again. Shit, even Capcom handled last-gen versions of their Basara games way better than Koei Tecmo did at the time. Because Basara 3, they released the expansion on Wii still. Even though the Wii was literally on its way out, they still released it on Wii. You know, it's not the best version of the game, but it's playable. They didn't cock-block you out of the entire expansion. Yeah, Utage was like a really late Wii game. There weren't too many big Wii games by that point. It's like Skyward Sword was a little bit after it. Maybe a couple other games, maybe. Oh, all my apes are gone. Okay, somebody's gonna shoot him with an arrow, I bet. That's usually how he dies. Or a rock falls on him. Oh no, he just keels over this time. Yeah, I know, dude, this is the last time you're gonna have a unique moveset. What a way to go, man. You have one of the coolest weapons in video game history that you never get to play with in video games that often. But guess what? When they bring you back for the 9th game, you get a pizza cutter that no one likes. And then to make things worse, when they announce empires, they use you to set an example. Hey, we're not decloning anyone this time, sorry. First fucking gameplay of 9 Empires is him with the pizza cutter. I was so pissed, man. Like, dude, come on! Really? First time. First time he's playable. First time you see gameplay. Like, nope, we're gonna make an example out of him. Sorry. Just to rub it in even more, people that like that character, he always gets the shit end of the stick in every game. This was the last time he had a unique moveset. It was this game. I mean, if you count Orochi, but Orochi is all just recycled assets. He's pretty good in Orochi 4 Ultimate, though. I actually really liked him in that game. Maybe I'll take a break and play that for a little bit. It's already dead. What are you talking about? They're just knocked out. It says KO count right there. They're not fallen, they're just knocked out, alright? You just need to take some ibuprofen and rest. They're fine. Trust me. They're totally not getting electrocuted and burned at the same time every time I push a button. Sun Quan's on something, man. They're not dead. Combo the lolly! Gonna take my horse away, I'm gonna find alternatives. Just jump cancel the aerial switch attack. my apes are gone. Oh, those people got downvoted. It's pretty funny. I get downvoted on that Reddit a lot for like no reason. Which is funny because I don't make like I don't self-promote on there at all. I don't. But people like to hate anyway. It's weird. It's like, dude, like I don't go on Reddit to watch YouTube videos. I go on there to get questions, like get updates or get a question answered. Or like discussion about the subjects. I don't go on there to watch YouTube videos. It's like, they're like putting words in my mouth. Next time someone does it, I'm gonna say, look, you don't have to like me, but you have to at least admit that I'm not self-promoting on there. I don't. I had somebody ask me for a video, I'm like, I don't want to self-promote. You can look for the title, but I'm not gonna post it on here. It's weird. I don't know if it's like jealousy or... I have no idea. I don't even begin to try to understand it. Yeah, the Diablo 4 Reddit is really bad. Which is a shame, because it's still better than the Blizzard forums for like learning things about that game, but most of it is just people at each other's throats. People complaining, and then people complain about the complaining. It's like, well, you don't have to read it, right? I feel like people forget how service games work, right? They always have shit that they always don't have shit that they should have at launch. It's like, dude, how many times have we been over this? Like, it was the same thing with the Avengers Reddit. That was some intense copium those guys were inhaling. I'm like, dude, yes, this game has good qualities. I played it for a while. I had fun with it, but I knew it was never going to be what people want it to be, because the people that run that game had no idea how to run a service game. So it's like, I got my fun out of it and I tapped out. I didn't keep going on the Reddit and complaining about it. I'm like, they didn't hire the right people to do the job. That's the main thing that was wrong with the Avengers game. Why would you get people... The only thing of note they've done is make Tomb Raider games. Why would you get them to make a service game? It just made no sense from the start. And it's like, as a result, it was never going to be a good service game. They had the same problems as Peak of Combat, which was... The combat was good, but the actual incentive to keep playing the game every day sucked. It was not there, and they took too long to update. But then people would just argue pages and pages and pages. It's like, dude, just let it go. You paid your $60. The campaign in that game is pretty good. If you played it a little bit after that, then you know, you got your money's worth. It's not worth going on there and just wishing for it to be better. It's like they don't have the right people on that game. They had no idea how to run a service game, how to keep people playing. Like Diablo 4 will be like legit good later on, I'm sure. Right now it's average at best. But I don't know. It's just like people don't understand the concept of just playing something else. I had fun with Diablo 4, but its flaws are very apparent, and I know they'll get fixed later, so instead of raging about it, I'm just playing shit like this. This shit came out 10 years ago. We'll make it better in time. Every service game is like that. To varying degrees, yes. There's some that launch in good states but still feel a little bit half-baked. And then there's ones like Diablo 4 and Avengers where it's like, it's average at best. But give it some time and it'll get better. Diablo 3 was worse than Diablo 4. Diablo 3 was a complete train wreck at launch. Oh man, I don't like playing as any of these characters. I don't like any of those characters at all. They're all like shit tier characters for me. Not feeling it. Let's see if anybody gets anything unlocked from here. I think that's going to be the end of my story mode. I can't stand playing as any of them, and I don't want to make them a weapon either. I'll have to look up the story. Let's just play regular. What's a major buzzkill for me? Ah, he's boring. I don't like his moveset. Problem with this game is the most fun weapon abilities is the air dash and the shadow step. The others are dreadfully boring. The whirlwind is kind of fun, but it still pales in comparison. It would have been better if they let you just choose. Like, dive is the most boring. Like, Zhao Yun's weapon, the dive. It's like, okay, you get some iframes when you get juggled, but it's just not a fun ability to get. It's very boring and one-dimensional. It's kind of why I like the Sacred Treasure system in Orochi 4, even if it had its faults for sure. Especially the original vanilla Orochi 4, where you couldn't choose the treasure that you wanted. And the treasures were definitely not created equal in that game, so when they let you change them, I think that game opened up a lot. It still wasn't as good as having R1s. R1s gave the characters like way more identity, but it was better than the original. Like the boots that did the Kamen Rider kick, those things were terrible. They had like no range, they did no damage, and he would land like behind the enemy, so you couldn't combo after his shit. And like a lot of my favorite characters were stuck with that, so it was a major buzzkill to play as them. How am I doing today? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm stressed about money. I had a very bad depression attack. Whoa, why is this looking so choppy? Maybe it's because I just went from 120 FPS game. That's looking really bad. How do I fix that? You can't soft reset in this game. Gotta go all the way back to the menu to change the options, which is really annoying. Hey, thank you. Yeah, this is looking really choppy for some reason. I don't know what's wrong with my computer. I hate all the games that are locked at 60 FPS. Pisses me off. I wish everything would just go up to like 144. I have this problem all the time now. All the games that are locked at 60 FPS look super choppy. I have no idea how to fix it. It's really starting to annoy me. Why can't you just unlock the frame rate? Yeah, this looks like shit. It's like really laggy. I don't know how to fix this. Alright, well, I'm not playing this right now. It'd probably look fine on the stream, but I don't know why that's happening. It's really annoying. Just unlock the frame rate. Tired of 60 FPS locks. I'm looking it up right now. It actually feels better on the Steam Deck now for some reason. I don't know why. Every time I make a thread about it on Reddit, nobody fucking helps me. Hold on a minute. I'm gonna try one thing. And if this doesn't work, then I'm just gonna give up for now, because I'm already not feeling well mentally at all right now. I really don't have my usual patience to keep fighting with stuff like this. Now the damn control panel won't fucking open. Alright, hold on. I gotta close the chat shortly. So if, Elon Musk's dog comes in here and donates like $5 grand, I'm not gonna be able to thank the dog, alright? Hold on. I'm gonna try like one thing, and if this doesn't work, then I'm just gonna play something else, because I'm like really not feeling well mentally. I need to take it easy. Let's see if I can fix this. Alright, let me get the chat back up. Hold on. This is very annoying. Let me turn VSync off as well. Maybe that will fix it. But I've been having this problem with a lot of games, and nobody ever gives me a solution on how to fix it. Yeah, I don't have much patience for this tonight. I'm gonna try this one thing. I might have to start asking around and how I can fix this, because I'm noticing this is a problem on a lot of the games locked at 60. They look really bad. This game takes so long to get the gameplay as well. You gotta sit through like 30 load screens. Starts to grate on you after a while. They made it a lot harder to get into gameplay. It takes like 10 seconds to load a menu. I mean, they pretty much just crap this game out. Yeah, it looks really choppy. How does it look on stream? Does it look fine? Does it look like actually 60? This is way worse than it used to look. Alright, there's like one more thing I can try. Yes, I might need to like I might need to use driver uninstall or whatever it's called. I'm thinking I might do that tonight, because that's like the least painful thing to do. Let me try it on my other monitor. Let's see if that fixes it. Let's see. Alright, let's see if it looks better like this. It's gonna take like a full minute to get into gameplay. It takes so long to get into gameplay. Alright, well, I think the best thing to do would be to wipe my drivers, but I'm definitely not doing that right now. If I do that, I'm not turning the stream on again, so we're just gonna play something else. When I have bad bouts with depression, I have a lot less patience. I don't feel like making myself pissed off over stupid stuff like this right now. It's not worth it. Best thing I could do is just completely wipe my drivers in safe mode, and maybe that will fix it. And if that doesn't fix it, it might just be certain games. Like, what happens if I boot up Arslan right now? How is that going to look? I still have that game installed. Maybe it's just a game-to-game thing, and drivers are borked or something. This game's a lot quicker to get into gameplay. They're already in gameplay. Yeah, this looks considerably worse too. Yeah, I've noticed that, Fuma. When I post videos in my Discord, I post those little short, like minute-long clips. Uh, I noticed that it looks way better in the video than it does, well, what I'm actually seeing with my eyes. Nothing's wrong with my eyes. I've got good vision for somebody's late 30s, but it's definitely odd. I've noticed other people have talked about it as well. I don't really have another monitor to really cross-reference this with, but it's pretty frustrating. It's mostly just Japanese games that are locked at 60 FPS anyway. The Western stuff and all the indie games generally let you unlock the frame rate, and that always fixes the problem for me. Even if it's only like 90 FPS, like it's like a marginal improvement, it still looks way better on my end, and I have no idea how to fix it. I'm gonna have to ask around, but I'll try wiping my drivers after I'm done streaming tonight. If that doesn't work, it's either just a placebo with my eyes, or just from being used to high frame rate games, or something else is wrong. But wiping drivers is pretty painless. Just got to go into safe mode and you torch your drivers and then you install them. You generally have to unplug your Ethernet cable so that Windows doesn't try to install generic drivers, which can also cause the problem. I changed like one thing. As soon as I get pissed, I'm just going to stop doing this. As soon as I start getting pissed off, I'm done. It's my new motto. I don't want to get so rage-induced anymore. Especially when I haven't been feeling good mentally for shit that's out of my control. I didn't really do much of anything. Probably need to wipe my drivers anyway. It's been like a year since I did like a clean wipe of them. It can't hurt. All right, well, let's just play something else now. I don't want to rage. I'm doing pretty good not getting pissed off, but I know if I keep trying, I will. Because I have anime protagonist abilities to like not give up on something. If I'm trying to fix something, I'll keep trying and trying and trying, and then I start malding more and more and more. And once I stopped doing that, I felt a lot better. I give myself a pretty strict time limit. I'm like, yeah, if this doesn't work in 10 minutes, I'm just not fucking with it anymore. I'm done. And generally, that's how things get fixed anyway. Is I come back later when I'm like I'm not malding so much. I've always had that problem. I'm definitely a good example of the downside of not giving up on something. I used to sit here for hours and just get more and more pissed, and then after I would finally give myself a break, I would just feel like so much better, and I would just fix the problem like right away. I'm glad that I've learned how to do that, but yeah, we're not doing that tonight. So I'm just playing games to play it. I don't have any kind of objective tonight, so... Yeah, I noticed that the frame timings are fine, so it's nothing wrong with the computer. It's either a placebo effect with my eyes being used to high frame rate games like this, or something is legit wrong with it, and I don't know how to fix it. It's one or the other. But I've got plenty of stuff to play that just works, so I think that's gonna... It's gonna be the direction shift for this game, for this stream. So I've had a very difficult day mentally. I don't feel like getting pissed over stuff that doesn't matter. You can probably get another monitor for cheap, and I can probably diagnose it that way, but I don't think my friends have any high frame rate monitors I could borrow. Oh yeah, thank you for your service. Just don't stress yourself out on my behalf. I have a good combo brain. I can figure out that stuff by myself. If the videos are stressing you out, then don't do it. I appreciate the help. It's not like the videos I'm doing are going to get any views anyway, because it's such an old game. And I'm not doing clickbait video essays about them. I'm actually playing the fucking game, so I don't expect high viewership. It's just something I'm doing for fun. I might get Gravity Circuit tomorrow, but I'm like really low on cash, and then also Double Dragons at the end of the month, so kind of just killing time. Don't pressure yourself too much. I appreciate the help, but it's not like this is some big project I'm gonna make like $5 grand off of because it's a video essay or something. It's just raw gameplay. We know how much this site hates raw gameplay now. Everything's got to be a video essay, which for the games I like to play is not very useful. Video essays aren't bad. I get stuck in the video essay rabbit hole myself sometimes, but for the stuff I like to play, I kind of just want to see the game, so I don't expect those videos to do well. And I'm having fun doing them. That's all that matters. So I hope you're doing the same. Don't stress yourself out on my behalf. I'll definitely be working hard on Double Dragon, because I know no one's gonna fucking make good videos for that game. Did you guys see the Game Informer gameplay for that got released this morning? The guys, they had the worst combo. They sucked at the game, and they don't even like beat-em-ups. They had 3 guys talking, and like only one of them liked beat-em-ups. The others were just complaining about it, and they sucked balls at the game. I'm like, dude, why don't you give people that, like, actually like the games the key? Like, I understand that in the video game industry, sites like Game Informer and IGN will always take priority over small, like, passionate aficionados like me and my friends, but they don't even like the genre. It's like getting me to play a first-person shooter. I would at least try to not hate on it, but still I would be like, well, the main reason I hate this game is because it's not my kind of game. Like, I objectively should not be reviewing this game. I should be reviewing something else. It's like the famous God Hand review, where the guy clearly did not like beat-em-ups. And God Hand is a very janky game, yes, it is. It's Resident Evil 4 tank controls with way more stuff happening and much deeper combat, because you're not using a gun. It's not perfect, but that guy hated those games in general, so even if it was more like DMC or Ninja Gaiden, which were both released at the time, I don't think that guy would have given it a much better review, in retrospect. At the same time, it's like, that game is very, very janky. You have to really kind of learn how to appreciate it. It's not an easily digestible game, even if you like that kind of game. You like beat 'em ups, you like melee combat, and you like a heavy focus on gameplay above all else. It's still a really rough game, but why do you have somebody reviewing it who doesn't like the games at all? So like, the game's shortcomings and its inability to pick it up easily like don't matter. You could say the same for Call of Duty. Call of Duty is actually like not a super advanced FPS. An advanced FPS would be like Quake or Unreal Tournament. The death matches in those games have like way more mechanics and depth than most Call of Duty games, except the ones where you have like superpowers and stuff. And they're not as easy to pick up and play as a result, but you still don't get somebody who doesn't like those games to review them. Like, that's pretty much why they do hero shooters now, because Unreal Tournament kind of lost its luster after a while, because people didn't like how long it took to get good at it. Those games are kind of a lot like a fighting game in a way, where it's like everybody's on the same playing field. There weren't like really setups or builds or anything. It was pretty much just everybody was the same character. Well, Wanted Dead doesn't look that great to begin with. That looks like the kind of game that a very specific amount of people will like it. A type of person will like it. I don't know how much praise that game deserves anyway, because they promised a polished patch for that game, but it's been out for like months now. Nothing. You can tell they probably planned to do that at some point, but then the game did bad. It didn't do very well, I don't think. So they just did like a 60% sale for it, and the patch that was supposed to improve the game is nowhere to be found. So I don't know how much praise they deserve, because it's really shitty to promise the game is going to be better and then it never actually happens. Because that's what happened with that game, is they made like a tweet apologizing for the game state and how they were going to make it better, and as far as I know, there is no patch in sight. So I feel like you burn through your goodwill when you do that. Make the game better for the people who believed in it and bought it. But that clearly did not happen. I'm looking on their page right now. I don't see anything relating to an update. They just bailed. Well, apparently the patch is vaporware, so it might come out someday, but kind of feels like maybe you could buy it now and wait for there to be a patch, but you might be waiting a year, so not everybody's going to be not everybody's going to want to do that, obviously. That's a big ask. There's plenty of games that work fine like right now. I bought that one game, Ogre Tale, the one from Mages. It was supposed to be the spiritual successor to Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds. But then it was worse in every way, and they got a lot of terrible reviews. And then they're like, oh, we're going to go back and fix it later, we promise. And then that never actually happened. They just abandoned it. It's like, okay, you acknowledge that you released a shit game, and you say you're going to fix it, and then you don't do it. I mean, that's just shady. I feel really... Actually, I didn't buy that game. I got a review key for that game, luckily. I would have been pissed if I bought that game. It was terrible. The only redeeming quality about that game was the pixel art. The pixel art and the presentation of the game was very nice, but the gameplay sucked. Every aspect of the gameplay felt really poorly designed and half-finished. I've bought a fair share of games that have really burnt me because they like promised more content and updates and stuff, and then it never happened. Like the Getsu Fumaden, the revival game that they made. They put that in early access, and then they just put it out. They put it out of early access and they didn't fucking add anything. I'm not making this up. They just gave themselves a participation trophy. They released the game out of early access with no content. They did polish the game up a little bit, yes, but there was no ending. And there's like achievements and stuff that like hint at like extra characters and levels and weapons and stuff, and none of that stuff happened. They just dropped development. It's one thing when that happens from like a random indie game that has like no they don't have a quality standard, they don't have like a big brand name behind them. But when the game is published by Konami, I expect it to be finished. But I guess they probably got told that it didn't sell well enough, so they're just gonna drop support. Yeah, that's one of the worst early access games I bought. They straight up did not give up their part of the deal. They lied. Like, no, we just don't feel like finishing the game, sorry. We're glad you believed in it, but we're not gonna fucking finish it. That happened with that other game I played, Edge of the Abyss. Same thing. They put it out of early access and they didn't finish it. It got released out of early access with no content. I'm like, cool. Nice participation trophy. Alright, well, this other game I'm wanting to play is not working. It was working earlier and it's not working anymore. Yeah, the only thing they added in the early access for Getsu Fumaden was basically just polish. A couple minor things. They made some things a little bit better, but they didn't actually really add any content, which is not what you expect when something's in fucking early access. You expect it to be finished. That game had a really nice presentation. It had really nice music as well. The remix of the Getsu Fumaden theme was pretty awesome. But it was super grindy. The combat wasn't very interesting either. They made the game way too grindy, and I think they did that to kind of hide that they don't actually have any content in the game. I think it was a thinly veiled way to, like, hide that they don't have content. It's just like the game wasn't really that great to warrant wanting to do all that grinding. It's a bit much. Yeah, the combat was pretty lackluster. It felt like Dead Cells, but way slower. Like they just kind of copied Dead Cells, but without the speed and finesse of Dead Cells. It doesn't really matter either way because they didn't finish the game. They basically just straight up swindled people. I mean, it's playable from start to finish, but It's not a good look when you charge people for early access and you don't give your part of the deal. Having early access on the Steam page implies that the game is actually going to be finished at some point. Not that you're just going to give up on it. I get that things happen, but it happens far too often. I've bought a disproportionate amount of games that don't finish. Like that Ogre Tail game. I think they could have taken the assets of that game. Like, he had a decent amount of moves and stuff, but the combat was just terrible. It wasn't what you would expect from that company, because Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds is actually a relatively deep game. It's not like the deepest beat-em-up out there, but more than playable. Ogre Tail was like this really weird, straight downgrade. Oops. A little rusty. All style, no substance. Yeah, that would describe the Getsu Fumiden revival game for sure. It felt like they had a good foundation, but none of that mattered because they didn't actually finish the game. So, luckily for them, it does have an ending. It has kind of like half of an ending. Either way, they don't really deserve any mercy and criticism because they basically lied to people. I don't really have any mercy when I buy an early access game with my own hard-earned money. Meaning I don't get a review key, I actually pay for it like everybody else. And they don't finish the game. Like, I have no remorse for that. That's why Steam pretty much has to have a disclaimer. It's like, don't buy this if you expect it to ever be finished. It might not ever be finished. Because so many studios have done that. Basically just swindle people. It's one thing when the game doesn't become something you want. I mean, it can't be held accountable for that. You can't please everybody. But the game still needs to be finished. There's a difference. I think the thing that makes Getsu Fumaden worse is that, like, the production values in that game are quite high. It looks really nice. I mean, there's like a dime a dozen, like, Japanese-looking weeb games like that. It's not like it's this unique, outlandish theme, but for what it's trying to do, it's a really nice-looking game. And the music is really good, too. But it was not really what you would consider to be a finished game. And we have proof of that, because if you go on the Steam database, it shows you, like, achievements pertaining to, like, whole new characters and stuff. Like, alright, there's your proof that they didn't finish the game. I bought that one Chinese character action game. They never even updated it once. Scumbags. They never even updated it once. And it was funny because I found that game on mobile and they want you to pay like 20 bucks for the rest of the game. It's like free to start. I'm like, I wonder if they actually finished the game on mobile or if they're just selling the same thing and trying to get more money for something they didn't finish. I was laughing when I saw that. Like, it's like you want to believe in those products. You want to believe that they're going to be like good games, and that they'll be worth your time and money. But then stuff like that happens. It's really hard to have a lot of understanding. That's how I feel, at least. I get that making a game is hard. You know, there was the guy making that Souls game, and he had to stop working on it because he had problems in his family. I guess, like, people in his family passed away or something. Now, he basically said, like, look, I can't finish this game. I can't finish this game. I'm going to leave it up at a discount, but it's never going to be a full game. That's fine. What sucks is getting ghosted. Because that's what happens most of the time with these early access games, is that they just straight up ghost you. It's like, nope, you don't get any closure at all. You're stuck with something that doesn't work. The game is either functionally broken or unfinished, or both. Nice. This level kind of sucks. I'm gonna go ahead and stop there. I'm gonna try to wipe my drivers and see if maybe it will fix that problem. So if I somehow get it to, if that somehow is the problem and it's not just either copium on my end for still having good eyes and not being able to really think 60 FPS is smooth anymore. If it does fix it, I'll come back, but I don't want to make any promises. So I'll see you guys either later tonight or maybe later today. Thanks for watching.